Thank you guys for joining me today. My name is Ishraq, and I'm a 3-time Sitecore Technology MVP, and I've been working with Sitecore for the past 7 years. So basically, this is a little bit of a mix between some technology and business and marketing. So feel free to jump in and ask me any questions later on after I finish with the session, because we're going to talk a little bit of everything. So marketing automation is one of the most interesting new features in Sitecore 9. And sooner or later, we are going to come across it, whether you are a marketer, whether you are a business doing a sales, or even if you are a technical person. So in this session, the main objectives is we're going to cover in the first half some marketing tools and lingo. So for those who are coming from a technical background, we can get used to these words whenever we're talking to our marketer people. And in the second half, we're going to take a closer look on how does it work from a technical perspective. So let's start by setting the scene for this talk. So I'll go ahead and assume that we are having an online booking website. So people are going to come and search for a room, make a reservation, and then get personalized emails with a number of discounts and offers. So typically what happens is that you go ahead and you sit with your client's marketing team, and they're going to come and start and saying, okay, let's have a campaign. So our campaign is going to be a 24 hours campaign. It's a global one, so anyone's coming from all around the world, we're going to target them with around 35% discount. And then those who are coming from specific countries such as the US, they're coming from Jordan, we're going to give them an extra 10% of discount. So basically, the first thing that came up to our mind was personalization. So for those who are familiar with the personalization rules engine, you'll see that we have two options. One, either to go with Sitecore's GRIB location service, but unfortunately due to some local regulations, that was not even an option. And the second option, we just went ahead and we overridden some of these rules in order to achieve our goals. So a couple of days after this campaign, and it achieved lots of, they made huge sales and lots of traffic. Obviously, we didn't get any of that money, but they wanted to come and see which other channels that led to this huge traffic, whether this is coming from the social media campaign. Is it our local travel agencies including this and their packages, or even it's just a sheer organic traffic. Also, they wanted to identify those who actually made the reservation, and they want to target them with additional discounts in the near future. And finally, they wanted to do this once a week for the entire holidays season. So we had to apply a new campaign every single Friday. Okay, so at this point, it sounds like we started with a campaign and we ended up with a more mature marketing plan, right? So we took a step back and we said, okay, so let's agree on one thing. What's your main objective of doing this whole thing? So they came back to us and they said, all right, we want to increase our online sales 19%. Okay, so we had to take a step back and reflect. Okay, so they want to provide a great customer experience, and we want to generate more traffic and increase our online sales through our website, right? So things that we had to take into consideration were we needed to start to identify who are our customers, what are the different channels they are using to reach our website. We wanted to collect some statistics and make actual tracking in order to enhance their experience across the different channels. We actually wanted to provide the personalization experience for them while being still at the same level of their objectives and being spot on brand. So if you look at the world of marketing, there's lots of marketing strategies out there, right? So it's continuously emerging as technology, processes, and people are emerging. Luckily, so Sitecore have they came up with a model that helps you to position your customer in a maturity. So you're gonna measure how mature your client is, and then take them step by step until they reach the end goal of creating long-time customers. We call this the customer experience maturity model. And basically, it consists of main 3 phases. So the first phase is the attract, And all we need is to have an HTML website and to generate quantity of traffic. We don't care about the customer quality of experience yet. We just want to generate traffic. The second phase is the convert. And at this point, this is one of the main phases of this model. So we want to optimize the customer experience by converting our business objectives to drive and guide customers through relevant journeys for them. And finally, we have the advocate phase. So we're looking into shifting the industry level maturity towards using predictive analytics, 360 customer profile, in order to provide this real-time experience for our customers. So this maturity model consists mainly of 7 stages. So we're going to take a closer look on each stage and then see if our client meeting that criteria. So the first stage is the initiate. Again, it's simply have an HTML website. We have an SA optimization and make sure we are generating actual traffic to our website. So that one for us was checked. The second stage is the radiate, which means we are going to spread across different channels, such as social media, to have a mobile presence and such. So at this point, okay, again, our client is at that stage. However, Sitecore is telling us to take into consideration other KPIs and measures in order to make sure we are mature at this stage. So we're looking at personas and customer segmentation. Obviously, we didn't have any of these, so we had to look for it and see what does those mean. So personas are, what we call them are miniature personality sketches that customers use to identify who are their customers and know how to deal with them. And basically, you drive these based on the behavior of your visitors. So we managed to identify a couple of them. So those who have been very time sensitive in terms of their reservation, they typically tend to book within shorter period of times. They stay repeatedly, book a hotel for within shorter time. We could put them under the business visitor personas. And those who are more price sensitive, so you see them planning ahead, and their booking is gonna take a longer time. So those guys, we call them leisure visitor. All right, so that one, we managed to create a couple of personas like that. And then we have customer segmentation. And we are going next to group these potential prospects, we call them potential prospects, which are visitors before they are converted into customers, based on common explicit characteristics, such as their keyword search, the channels they are using. So for the sake of our case, we managed to derive some of these channels. So we found that those who are coming directly, like through an organic traffic, let's say they hit our reservation page directly, we could have put them under a repeat customer or a frequent flyer actually who is coming on a job. And those who are coming through the Google search, we can identify them as a new visitors. So the next stage is the align, and basically we want to make sure that every activity, digital and marketing activity, done is in alignment with our customer objectives. In order to do this, we need to shift our focus to what we call value and value per visit, or from a Sitecore perspective, engagement values. And those are an indication or a value you set for your customer behavior in relevance to your overall objective. So basically, you start to build this from the least relative customer behavior to your objectives to the most. So those who actually did click the campaigns that we created, they are halfway through reserving an actual room. So we're going to assign them 50 points. While those who did actually did the reservation, we're going to give them the full point. And those who just interacted with our tweets, again, this is, you define these values based on the relevancy for your objectives. And we are going to use these values later on in Sitecore Experience Analytics in order to learn more about customer behavior. The next stage is the optimize, and we are looking into optimizing the customer experience through the most relevant channels they have. And basically, we typically look at personalization and A/B testing. I'm not going to talk about A/B testing, but for personalization, we have different types of personalization. So the most known one is the rule-based personalization. And then we have, so sometimes we create a content spot. We tag those with some taxonomies. and then use this for personalization. We call this algorithm personalization. Also, we have the connected personalization, in which a visitor comes to your website. Later on, you're going to send them an email. If they click it back to your website, you start to personalize their experience based on this connected personalization. And finally, if you take your customer experience ahead and use machine learning to identify more patterns and provide them with more relevant content based on whatever you derived as the preferred channel, we call that automated personalization. All right, so marketing taxonomy. So we just mentioned that we can identify spot of content and tag them with taxonomies. So we created a number of them. We gave them a code, and we defined a number of different channels. So let's say those are coming from social media. We're going to start creating a certain code number, and then create sub-channels such as Facebook and Twitter. Similar to the engagement value, it can give you more and more understanding through the experience analytics how your customers are interacting with your website, and hence then optimize their experience across the website. All right, so by now, this is where typically most of our clients reside. So you created a campaign, you set an objective, you did some sort of segmentation, you did personalization, and you continuously optimize their experience. And this is going to be the longer stage where most of the customers are going to be. So based on that, you have to decide to stay even longer in order to enhance this even more, or to go to other stages that's going to lead you eventually to more lifetime customers. So the next stage is the nurture stage, and we can look at it as an advanced optimization step where we are going to optimize the customer experience through automated channels such as email marketing and marketing automation. So we're going to talk about marketing automation in a bit. And for email marketing, you can attend Pete's Navarra session tomorrow on email marketing. All right. So towards the end of any customer journey, we're going to look at engaging. So at this stage, your customer needs to start to prioritize the decisions they are making in order to achieve this single view of their customers. So they need to choose if they're going to store their customers' information centralized or decentralized. Are they looking into speed to market in terms of the deliverable of their work, or is it against like the quality of the work done and such? And the final stage is turning the lifetime customers into lifetime ones. So whenever you are looking at the customer journey as a whole in your website through every single point of interaction, you're going to achieve this single view. All right, so we talked a lot about marketing and language and tools that most of us, like coming from technical background, we typically don't use, heavily use these. So I'm going to shift a little bit into marketing automation from yet some marketing concept and some technical background. So if we're going to look at marketing automation in a nutshell, it's the process of automating everything we just said. So it was not a waste of time to go back and talk about everything of these, because when you look at marketing automation, you need to be able to create these segments, create personas, define goals, and in order to, once you create your journey and marketing automation, it's going to be a repeated and automated process. In previous versions of Sitecore, such as R.E.A.L.I.T.Y and R.E.A.L.I.T.Y, we still have what we call engagement plans. So these are predefined plans that allows or give the customer some sort of ability to interact with their clients. However, the main challenges with engagement plans were, first of all, engagement plans as a concept was not that much familiar with most of them. If you want to create a new engagement plans or to do some modification of them, you needed lots of technical background. Also, some of the core activities, such as triggering email through a plan, was not even a possibility. And finally, it's built on top of Silverlight, and basically no one likes to be limited in their choice of browser. So what Sitecore did in Sitecore 9 is to focus on the ease of use and to enhance the visualization of this. So they came up with a modern and intuitive UI that's built on a drag and drop of activities while you build your campaign. It's now as a standalone application, so you can access it directly from the dashboard rather than from the marketing center. It's built on top of XConnect, and hopefully if you joined previous sessions, you learned a little bit more about XConnect. So Sitecore and Sitecore 9, they built a new rules engine, and they incorporated even more comprehensive set of rules to cover the new features such as segments and the list manager. And finally, we get rid of Silverlight. Okay, so let's agree on two things here. Whenever we are going to talk about marketing automation, we're going to refer to it as a campaign or a plan. And second, we're going to start to talk about customers as contacts. So basically, once you create a campaign, we have a start and an end, and a number of activities in between. So these activities could be what we call listeners. So it's a set of elements that allows you to listen to the activity that a contact is doing within your marketing plan, and then allows you to make a decision where they're going to move next. We have decision points, which are elements that allows you to create rules. And then once triggered, it's going to help you to identify again at which route you can send your contacts. We have marketing actions, marketing and broadcast actions that allows you to do an actual change to your contacts, such as triggering an email campaign or maybe add them to a contact list. We have delays in which we are going to freeze the current state of a contact for a period of time until the next action is triggered. And finally, we have tools that allows you to either move a contact to the beginning of your campaign or to send them or over to a new campaign. So, why to use marketing automation? So when we said we were at that stage of the optimization where we did all the work and we had this personalized experience and everything, we had this question: should we go with marketing automation or not? Since we had these kind of activities that we needed to do on a weekly basis. So the first thing you need to look at is, do you have a stream of leads? Meaning you have a vast base of customers that you are working to enhance their experience across your website, or you are expecting to have much more traffic and leads to your website. So if you have that, then actually start think about marketing automation. If you don't, we have other things in Sitecore, such as segments. You can create segments and do all the different actions we did on them. So the decision is based on how relevant this traffic to your website. Second, you've already did everything we just discussed, and that's why we had to talk about that at the beginning. So you already have built a content strategy. So you know your content spots, you know the taxonomies you want to create, you have personas. So everything is in place for you to start automating this. And finally, you have a known journey. So once you look at your campaign from beginning to end, it's actually going to make sense. Okay. So let's take a closer look on how marketing automation works. So if we take a look, and I should put a disclaimer that I got this from Sitecore, but so basically this is our area of interest. We have, it's built on top of Sitecore XConnect. We are relying heavily on the XDB. Hopefully in the near future, we're gonna integrate everything with Sitecore Cortex. And finally, we have the integration with all the different Sitecore core rules within our system. All right. So the main component of marketing automations are, we have the marketing automation engine, we have the marketing automation operation web API, we have the marketing automation reporting web API, we have an enrollment database and automation pool database. So basically the marketing automation engine is the core of marketing automation, and it's responsible for processing everything that's related to your campaign. So if an interaction with your plan happens, or if an enrollment or any changes to contacts within your plan is triggered, the marketing engine is going to start working. So it's installed as a Windows service. You can have it as a standalone console application or as a web job in Azure. The marketing automation operations API is mainly responsible for three things. For the enrollment of contacts in single or multiple plans. So it actually runs as an async batch. So you can expect a number of delay, and it's going to give you an indication if the processing is going to happen successfully or not, and it's based on priority. The second thing is to trigger a live event. So it allows you to bypass the XConnect and to talk directly with the Sitecore marketing engine in order to do an action such as sending an email marketing or to personalize the entire experience for a contact while they are still in session. And finally, it allows you to bear a contact from a single or multiple plans due to privacy reasons. Marketing automation reporting is responsible for aggregating and generating different statistics and reports and sending it back to your automation UI. Okay, so if we look at the connection string from a Sitecore 9 installation, we'll see that we have our XConnect built on top of secure HTTP. We have the different marketing, reporting, and operations databases. We have the processing, the reference database that's responsible for storing your marketing automation definitions and different activities. And finally, we have the messaging database that's responsible for EXM. All right, so what happens when an actual marketing automation, I hate like animation, so I don't know how to do this. So anyway, so what happens when a marketing automation plan is created? So what happens is the first thing, Sitecore is going to trigger the marketing automation operation web API. That's going to build the XGP reference data server to store the plan definition and activities inside the XGP reference database. All right. And what happens if a new engagement with your plan is happening, an interaction, or a new contact or existing one is being updated? So XConnect has what we call an XGP contact event watcher, which is going to continuously listen for any of these activities. So once any of these activities is triggered, it's going to call the collection service to store the information of the contact in the collection database. And it's going to trigger a plugin, an automation plugin on the marketing automation to create a work item inside automation pool database. So the automation engine is continuously like listening and looking for work. So it's going to continuously check the automation pool database for any created work items in there. And then it's going to execute that based on priority. So the first thing it's going to do is to interact with the XGP reference data to build that definition of this plan, to figure out if a certain criteria has been met, and then execute any activity types related to it. And then it's going to create an enrollment in the enrollment database. And finally, forgive me for the delay in the animation. Okay, so what happens if a marketer is requesting the statistics and these reports from the marketing automation? It's going to trigger the marketing automation reporting API. That's going to contact your reporting service to pull this information from the enrollment database with the aggregation and send back statistics and reports back to your automation UI. And of course, you have different options to scale your marketing automation, such if you actually have this need. So we can do it vertically or horizontally. A vertical scalability is happening by dedicating some of the core roles we discussed. So if I just go back. So we have our main 4 core servers. We have our marketing section. We have the connect, and we have the XGP reference data. In the vertical scalability, we are going to dedicate each one of those with its own servers. And you can do full scalability by having a dedicated server for each of these roles. And finally, the horizontal scaling can happen by running the marketing automation engine across multiple instances. All right, so I'll go for a quick demo, and kid you not, it's gonna work. Because, yeah, I'm not gonna do a live one because I'm not always happy with the demo guide. So we're gonna start by creating our campaign. So let's agree that this is April and we have Easter. So we are going to run a 30 days campaign. We're gonna call it Easter campaign. And then we're gonna track those who are interacting with our campaign from Facebook, obviously for privacy reasons as well. And then we're gonna target those who did the actual reservation from Southeast Asia, for example, add them to a contact list, and then target them in later campaigns with more personalized and specific discounts and offers. So we went ahead and created the different channels, segments, and taxonomies for that. So this is how the marketing automation looks like for those who didn't yet seen it. It lists, again, for demo reasons, it's an empty list, but it's going to list all the different marketing automation plans we have, whether it's an active or inactive plan. This is our working area. So this is, we have the beginning and an end of our campaign, and we have a toolbox that allows you to use the different elements to start creating your campaign. And if you look at the engagement plans, you can see the difference and the visualization for previous versions. All right, so we said we want to start to listen for the April Easter campaign, right? So we're gonna look for listeners, and we're gonna drag and drop a campaign activity. Once it's dropped, as we mentioned, it's gonna give you the option to decide at which path we are going to send our contacts through our journey. So I'm gonna click on that, and it's gonna give you the option to select which campaign we have and for how long we are going to listen for this campaign. So our campaign is the April Easter offer, and we're gonna listen for 30 days. Next, we want to increase the engagement value for this campaign, and as we mentioned before, we can end the engagement value for how relevant it is for your objective. We're going to work on increasing that, and we are going to add contact to a contact list, and we're going to call it Southeast Asia visitors. So you can see it's a little bit fun to work with the marketing automation with all these drag and drop capabilities, and it's nice to play around. So it's very easy. Like what we just did, we jump to the actions we want to perform, and we forget what the actual triggers to reach to this. So what we need now is to use decision points to check for the Facebook channel. We said we are going to target those who are coming from the Facebook channel with that. So we're going to use a decision point. It's going to prompt you with the option whether to go with the yes or a no path. We're going to go with the yes path. And then once we click on our decision point, we can give it a name, obviously. And then using the rules editor, we are going to select our Facebook campaign. All right. And for those who, if we don't care about the rest of those visitors who are not coming from this campaign, we can simply either remove them from the current one or just send them totally to a different campaign. The other thing we want to listen for is the region they are coming from. So first of all, we want to continuously listening for any visitors for 30 days. So you can play around whatever listeners you have. So we're going to drag and drop a visit listener, and we're going to listen for our visitors for 30 days only. And then we're going to use another decision point to check the region they are coming from. And if they match the range of IPs that they are coming from Southeast Asia, we're going to add those visitors to the add contact to a list. If not, we can trigger and send an email You can add some delays if you wish to listen further and then send them to another campaign. And finally, every contact who's coming from the yes path, we want to send them to another campaign for extra discounts. So you can have different plans defined based on your objectives. It can be a simple one if the activities you want to automate is not that big, or it can be even more comprehensive and complicated than that. And basically, this is dependent on how complex your business cases are. And with much more refining, you might end up in even splitting this into a number of different campaigns. And this is totally based on your objectives and how relevant this entire experience to your customer journey. So as a final thought, we always need to look at machine learning. And hopefully with Cortex, very soon we're going to see more use of artificial intelligence in our work with Sitecore. It's going to help us to do much more predictive analysis and automated decisions rather than relying on human judgment, because sometimes even the tools we are using might be limited, but the machine typically allows you to learn the different behavior and give you an indication on whether these channels you are sending your clients to, whether these activities you are performing is going to lead you for an extra step towards a better customer experience. And that's it for me.
Any questions?
When it sends the email, is that an EXM email?
Yeah. Thank you.
Short question, short answer.
Yeah. I mean, like, I hope that in Peace Novara sessions, you're going to discuss all the different things about EXM and marketing automation. Yeah.
You talked about, in the customer maturity model section, about starting just with plain HTML and driving traffic, and we ended up on marketing automation and looking towards machine learning. What's the timeline for most of your customers to get through that maturity model?
There's no definite timeline for any customer experience, because we have those sort of clients who's just content with just having an online presence and driving more traffic, and they're going to settle with basic personalization. And from my experience, those who's coming from our part of the world, they're more focused on just having personalized experience, and that's enough for them. And typically within 6 months to 1 year, we would have optimized all the entire experience across all their different channels, and that's it for them. There's some of them who are much more experienced with the different digital marketing strategies there, and they want to leverage everything. So if a Sitecore actually rep sits with them, sales representative, and sell them Sitecore, they typically come back and ask for marketing automation as their first option because they like the idea of it. But in order to reach that, it's not going to happen within months or even a year. That's dependent on how optimize all these activities you did through their maturity, and then we might look into marketing automation as an option. But for now, none of the customers I worked with actually use marketing automation yet. Yeah.
Do you often help clients to realize that they need to move to a next maturity level? Because often we experience clients just want personalization and then they can't really envision themselves take the next step, or they would like to, but they don't really know how to begin the journey. Is that something you help clients to achieve, or do they use outside resources to do that?
Yeah, definitely. So it's typically a mix of everything. So if there's an active Sitecore office in the region, they will do lots of workshops, and I'm gonna give them session on ASPOs. That's where we get the maturity model, and try to teach them how to use that, how to understand the different activities and actions we have in there in order to implement it. you can help them by actually starting to understand all of this. So from my experience, because we're technical people, we don't like to talk marketing and business. We like to see how the actual things is working. And it's nice because we have the capabilities. And we know platforms, the Sitecore platform is really well to just go and pipeline everything. But starting with Sitecore 9 and hopefully in the future, we have more trust in Sitecore as a platform. So we have lots of out-of-the-box tools and techniques. So all you need is just to teach them how to use that, and that's enough. You don't have to spend this much time of customization or even training and teaching to help them understand at which level they are standing and which tools they're going to use for to move from one maturity level to the other. So it's a bit of everything.
More questions? No.
All right, it has been a blast. Thank you.